I'm so fired up because I've got the one, the only, Bwana Geoffrey Mwangi. He's the former CEO, NHIF. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much.
How was your day?
Very good. Good to be at Spice again.
It's been a while since you were here.
It's been a while.
You know, the last time I saw you here, ulikuwa na Eric Latif.
Yes.
Mwaka mpya, how is everything? Like,
it's good. A bit tough, you know. Parents taking their kids back to school. A bit of issues there, you know.
Right.
We got lesser schools, more kids.
Yeah.
Problem. But Kenyans are keeping up, especially my guys down in Nakuru.
Yeah, nice. Shout out to guys who are listening to us in Nakuru. By the way, you can catch us on the frequency. Watu wa Nakuru 96.0. Remember, this is the home of sugar, spice, and everything nice. Alafu Kisumu City 102.5, and if you're headed to Nyeri 90.9, and kama kawaida Malindi is 97.7. Now, Bwana Geoffrey, you know this is going to be a very political year.
Yes.
We'll talk about siasa in just a bit. You know, it's interesting. My friend was telling me, hey, lakini Kevo, squeeze vile Raila sasa yuko. Siasa is boring.
No, we'll see a new face of politics, a new face of politics in Kenya, you know. Minus the old setup. There are people, since they were born, they've known politics with maybe Kina Raila. Now we're going to see a totally different face of politics.
I'm just reminded of also the elections in Uganda. For the past 40 years.
I'm just hoping Kenya doesn't follow suit.
You guys, I don't think we will. Kenny, those guys have only known Museveni. What?
The others who are born, they've known no other leader.
No other leader.
That's
horrible.
You know,
Lakini karibu sana. So, you know, obviously, you being the former NHIF CEO, some people would expect me to ask a few questions to do with, you know, your tenure while you were at NHIF. And of course, SHA. So, NHIF, apparently the reason there was a transition to SHA was due to leakage. You know, corruption. Talking about.
So they say. So they said.
So do you think this transition to SHA actually addressed some of the main issues that were, you know, that you guys experienced at NHIF?
Well, I normally say this. The SHA law was very good because it brought in two aspects which NHIF didn't have. It brought in the aspect of chronic and conditions and how we take care of them. Emergency and chronic conditions, because that's an area which has been a problem. We needed to have a separate fund, you know, a dedicated fund for that.
Yeah.
And also, we were so used to curative side.
Yes.
We also opened up a new area of preventive and promotive. We need to be more promotive of health condition than curative. So those two aspects of the law are fundamental and they were good. But then the whole issue has been on the change aspect, the change management, the transition aspect, which was done very bad, is still bad, and we could have done better.
But, you know, is it possible to actually do away with fraud in a public healthcare system? Completely do away with fraud?
Well, worldwide, fraud is there. There's no way. Whatever a human being is, you'll always expect. The issue is you should always up your game. You should be ahead of the pack. There are mechanisms that you can apply. And you at least reduce the aspects of fraud, and you deter them, and you are able to capture them before it happens. So there are mechanisms to apply. So you don't need to be crying foul every time, you know, because SHA is not the only social health insurance. There are so many in the world. They do operate. So why are we so unique? So we just need to be ahead of the pack.
You know, it's interesting.
Our game.
Yeah, correct. I was reading on the news yesterday, and they're talking about how activists have taken the SHA issue to Milimani High Court, challenging the legality of the 104.8 billion social health insurance fund digital system. So they are urging the courts to dissolve SHA, accusing the government of secrecy, illegal procurement, and violating the constitution in how digital health system was set up and rolled out. So we've had issues to do with accountability, transparency, and trust kutoka wa Kenya, right? So do you think SHA could actually end up becoming, you know, just another way of, you know, folks siphoning money again? Yeah,
the problem with Kenyans is putting the deal ahead instead of putting work ahead. Because that's the whole thing we see with the SHA thing. And that's why someone had to bastardize NHIF so that you guys, you don't ask many questions, because there was no need of that system. And is it there anyway? And, you know, because they've been singing of it, is it there anyway? But you find that money has changed hands. There was no need of that system, because we already had upgraded systems, and the only thing we needed was to up our ERP system. with an investment of about 700, 800 million, and maybe what you call a data center with an investment of about 200 to 250 million shillings. And that was enough. That's the only gap that was there, because we already had the membership system, revenue collection system was there. So we only needed these other two, and everything could have been fine.
Nice.
Well, when somebody comes with a deal of 1 or 4 million, you can, I guess it's as good as mine.
Okay.
So, yeah,
fair enough. Now, if you could make one change, when it comes to the funding of the, the healthcare system in the country, what change would you make?
One, we need everybody to be a member. That is, we need especially the informal sector people to join in, because you find the people who have a formal pay slip are normally discriminated, because they end up supporting all the other about 15 plus million Kenyans who do informal jobs. So you need to have a mechanism, and that mechanism has to be built on trust, because insurance, you sell hope. You sell a tomorrow, which is not there. You sell the service. So you need people to trust that you're going to deliver. Right now, people have a lot of trust issues in the current system. So who's going to put in their money? We only put in their money because they come for it. Otherwise, people are not willing. So that is the benchmark of any social health system. You need to have the old contributing, the young contributing, those who are able to pay paying, and those who have more paying more. Correct. It's a whole social health built on a certain science, and world over, it is the best when it comes to managing healthcare, public healthcare systems.
Okay. Fantastic. For the record, folks, that is the one and only CPA Geoffrey Mwangi. He's the former CEO NHIF, and we're talking the state of the nation. Obviously, we had to touch on NHIF and, of course, SHA. But now switching some gears. It's a very political year, 2026. What are your expectations, of this year, politically speaking, especially with regards to youth and, just these political conversations?
Well, it's a bit unfortunate. We are seeing our youth and so-called Gen Zs having lowered their tempo a bit, and I hope this year they need to up their game, and especially register themselves as voters, because the future is theirs. The much of the future that this country has is theirs. So they need to take charge. They need to come on board and help this country get the leaders it deserves, good leaders, because I think that's the gap we've been having. That's why a few of the leaders, when they do a few good things, we guys will think it's magic.
Tunasema, wow,
yes.
And it's possible.
We've been having a leadership deficit
you think
in this
so,
country.
Right?
Yes.
But this story for political parties, right? So it's interesting you say the future belongs to the youth, but at the same time, when you go to the ground, especially this season, since I guess ever since President Ruto got into power, right? The political conversation they've been very rife amongst the youth. Civic engagements have been elevated, but the youth are saying, "Apana, the future, hakuna kitu kama the future belongs to us. It is now.
Yes,
we need to actually take up, these political positions and get into political conversations right now." But at the same time, I'm reminded of in certain quarters where some youth were saying, they don't even trust these political parties, right? They're saying they have a certain rigid status quo. It's even hard for them to actually get in there and, try and have radical conversations that would switch the way we have these political conversations, right? So would you encourage youth to actually get into these existing political parties and form their own parties?
Well, they need to get into these parties, because trying to form their own parties, it's a tall order. It's a tall order. They need to be tactical enough to know how to start getting in and how to start changing from within, because we need to study our governance structure, because that's the law, the way it is tailored. So to me, my advice would be they get into these parties. These parties, most of them want to show that they have space for the youth, whether it is to get the youth vote, but they should take advantage of that, because I don't think there's any party which doesn't have a section for the youth right now, because they are the majority in numbers. So for me, my advice, they go in, take advantage. Most of the leaders we're seeing now started from a youthful point back then, and were quite vocal, and they have had their journey. So we want to encourage more youth to take charge now, because as I was saying, The future is theirs. So they need to take charge now. They need to take charge of the leadership. Otherwise, how do they shape their future if they don't take charge of the leadership now?
I want to remind you of the famous youth, Kasmuel. You know, when he got into ODM, watu wakaanza kusema he's a traitor. You know, oh, sell out. You should have stuck with us kwa ground. Would you consider folks who get into these political parties as traitors? For example, Kasmuel, was it wrong for folks to actually refer to him as a traitor? And another question, number two, this is a two-layered question. Now, number two, if you look at even the conversations within ODM, the people who are saying how they're treating Babu Wino, for example, is very demotivating for most youth. Wanasema, you know, now, Oburu Dinga, amekata to include these vijanas in party conversations, in the leadership of the party. And that is why, for example, most youth are, you know, they're just not excited about joining these parties. Do you agree?
Well, I don't know the background of Samuel, and I don't know, I really don't know. But when you're joining politics, you need to be very careful because your every step is watched. So when you get into this flip-flopping attitude, people will say you are a sellout. Okay. So it is your actions. It's about your actions and about how you carry yourself, because it depends on where you want to go. If you're hoodwinked very fast, you'll be blown off because people are watching. So you need to know, if you get into that space, it is not your space alone. People are watching you. So it all depends on your character and what you're doing. About Babu, you know, it's high time he fights for his space. This space doesn't come for free. You need to get in and fight for it, because nobody will hand it over to you on a silver platter. No. So me, I think his time is up. It's good timing for him. All he needs to do is to up his game, and I think he's doing okay. He needs to fight for the space.
You know, during electioneering periods, especially even after, actually before the elections and even after, the youth are usually used to engage in violence, right? Before I even talk about what we saw in Tanzania, specifically this time around, do you still have a feeling that the youth will be vulnerable and politicians could actually take advantage of their vulnerability and use them for their own, weird interests?
Yes, I see it, because even now what is happening with these Nyota programs, youth are just being given handouts.
Oh, you consider that to be handouts?
That's handouts. That money can be used in a better way.
I thought it's empowering the youth to start biashara.
When you're given 20K to you as an individual, maybe you are 1,000 of you. Cumulatively, that money can do a lot when it is together. But when it is split in between you, it just becomes money for lunch. And change. You can't do anything else much with it. But if it is used in a cumulative way, it can do a lot. It can actually do a lot of good startups which will employ these youth. But for now, individually, if you have 20,000, unless the same youth join again, contribute the same money to do a big venture. So I don't believe in that idea of handouts. That culture of giving handouts, it's not the best culture to leadership. There are better ways of doing things, and that's why we are putting ourselves there, so that we can show people there are other ways of doing things.
Yeah, because I also know you're getting into politics. We'll talk about that later on.
To me, according to me, the youth will still be used, because right now they are vulnerable, they are hungry, they have no jobs, they are broke.
So they'll always be vulnerable.
The big-moneyed politicians will always come swinging their cash to the youth. So, but I just want to advise them, please do not be used as a weapon against your fellow youth.
Right.
Do not be used as a weapon. Let us focus and put the right leadership in this country. We are better off with better leadership. And we are better off protecting our democracy. Let people sell their ideas.
So speaking of right leadership, right? Obviously, we're going to have a new crop of politicians, yourself included, and other younger Kenyans getting into the game, right? Yes. How do we vet people who are so green? And we don't even know your background. Okay, probably now, for you, you've been in public service.
I've been in the space.
You've been in the space.
Yes.
But in general, right? Say, for example, now, Mimi, I've seen some other guy there. Amekuja hapo na siasa mingi. Maybe he's joined a big political party. Or even worse, he's an independent. How should Kenyans go about vetting such individuals?
Every human being has a background, have where they are coming from. They have their credentials. Even if it's a first-time university graduate, they have their record of schoolwork or college work. You know, so there's no human being who doesn't have at least some background which you can use to vet them. And some other level is to vet the parties they are into, because we lost our game in parliament. You look the parliament of today, you cannot compare it to the parliament of 92, to the parliament of 97. There's a lot of disparity. I think after we went to devolution, it's like people said, oh, okay, we have a new constitution, let it work for itself. But it doesn't work that way. People have to be involved in shaping their new constitution. People have to be involved in it. So that's what we are seeing, a decline in our institutional strength.
Right.
Talk of parliament, talk of judiciary, talk of the police. Despite them being given strength by the constitution, despite them being given autonomy by the constitution, we've seen them decline and not being really the institutions we saw really fighting some one-party rule some years back.
So technically, you're also saying this has probably been one of the worst parliaments of our times.
Sure, the worst.
Yeah. Do you think Kenyans are aware for real? And do you think we'll actually put in the right people in parliament?
They were aware until they fought the finance bill. I don't know where that awareness went, because I find it declined a bit. So I'm just hoping they're just waiting for the moment that is next year.
Yeah, but even this year there's the anniversary for the Mandamano, 25th June.
Well, I don't know how it will work, but I'm just hoping the whole of that energy can be used next year, August, so that we put in new administration in place, we put in a new parliament, and then we see what happens. You can see, like, the debate which was going on the sale of Safaricom and the sale of privatization of some publicly held social goods, which is a good idea. There's nothing wrong in privatizing. Actually, I come from the school of thought of economics that says government should not be involved in doing business.
Right.
Government should just be the enabler and allow private sector to carry on business, because government sometimes is a bit lazy in overseeing or oversighting its own business. And that's why you have a lot of debt, a lot of corruption, and that kind of thing. But then, all businesses started by government, because there has to be the initial start.
I agree.
After some time, all governments end up selling their assets. The issue is, how much do you sell them at?
Right.
That's where we have, Right now, Kenya has debt. We need to use our assets prudently to pay our debt and sell them at the highest bidder, so that we can turn over, pay our debt, and end up being a going concern, as we say in accounting. So there's a bit of good management that we need to do. And who are the protectors of this? Parliament. It's parliament.
Yeah,
that's where it is.
Yeah. Back to some politics. It's interesting when you observe and you listen very keenly to the president during the rallies. He talks about how the opposition really don't have an agenda. Yeah, wanasema tu Kasongo one time, nini, right? So, do you feel like the opposition really don't have an actual agenda?
The opposition has an agenda. And the first agenda is one term, because that's an agenda enough. Because having an agenda is when you realize where the problem is.
Okay.
Why has our parliament declined and lacked autonomy? Because of one man. Why has our judiciary declined and sold out its autonomy? Because of one man. The same thing with the police unit. So that's the problem. That's the problem.
No, but the president is saying...
And again, for the growth of our democracy, for strengthening our democracy, we need to make 2 successive presidents one term.
What?
Yes, that's according to me.
In East Africa?
Yes.
Africa?
In Africa, in Kenya. Let me tell you, I have faith in our election process.
Yes.
Our election process is not like our neighbors. Ours is tough. It's tight. We've gone through many phases of the same process our neighbors are going through. And I think over time, and thanks to parties like ODM, we've had our election process tightened and over time. So from how I see it, it is not easy for anyone just to bungle an election. You will try doing it, the courts will throw it out.
Do you still consider ODM to be a progressive party?
Well, right now they're having challenges, and this is a problem of our African leaders.
Yeah.
Always prepare who is to take over from you. Strong parties have clear line of succession. And this is what we have not seen in ODM. So it's like it was a one-man show.
What?
So if the master is not there, the house is no longer there. So that's the problem we are seeing. I don't know how they are going to mitigate the factors, the current circumstances.
Yes.
They're in a turbulent situation. I don't know, but I'm foreseeing it having split into four. The famous chungwa might end up being on the dinner table.
Yeah. So it's interesting. Yeah, I want to
consumed as dessert.
I want to go back to that statement. You say the agenda is one term.
The agenda is one term.
Let's not be distracted. But the president is saying, talk about real issues.
What we are saying.
Ground, amejenga affordable housing, development right and left and center. Kuna mabarabara nini. Let's talk issues. What's the alternative?
Who said we had a problem of housing in this country? We have bigger problems of lack of enough schools for our kids. Let us start there.
Yes.
Let us do some things. Like I saw back in a place called El Bagon. They took over a prominent school land to do affordable housing.
Yes.
When we will want to expand that school, where are we going to get land? People can build their own houses in whichever plots they have, but we will never get space to build schools in people's plots. No, it will be a problem.
Right.
I saw again in Gayville, they were trying to take over some hospital land to do affordable housing. Surely, I don't think that's right. And we are not saying doing houses is wrong. Leave it to the private sector to develop houses. And how I wish these houses were being built in Matara, where we have real slums and real need for houses. Where are we seeing them being taken to places where...
The president said he's going to do away with Kibera anyway.
When? That's where it should have started.
Let's take a short break. Guys, we're talking about the state of the nation right here on Culture Kitchen. I'm excited because I have the one and only CPA, Geoffrey Mwangi. And right now I can see it's 1:45 of the hour. I need to Sambili. We're coming back right after some Joe Public. This one's for you. Twende kazi.
Sugar and spice and everything nice. 94.4 Spice FM.